King Charles has officially met Meghan, Harry, Archie and Lily at Highgrove House, his Gloucestershire country residence.
That they are forgiven, at least in some quarters, and coming back, but it is real. Remember, Harry did say in Ukraine he considers himself a working royal still. I know we all thought that that question was put to bed.
Meghan Markle just made her move. It was a calculated, high-stakes gamble to force a reunion by using the children as a diplomatic bridge. It was designed to pull at the heartstrings of a monarch who is currently paralyzed by his own paternal instincts. The play worked. It put King Charles in a corner, forcing him to choose between his duties as the sovereign and his desires as a grandfather. But it triggered a response the Sussex camp didn't see coming. Prince William has officially stepped in. He is no longer watching from the sidelines. He has implemented an institutional firewall to ensure that Meghan's latest maneuver does not result in the brand rehabilitation she is seeking. The king is trapped in the middle, but William is the one who has taken control. The recent, highly publicized visit, the private meeting at Highgrove, was not an olive branch. It was a strategic asset. By bringing Archie and Lilibet back to the UK, the Sussex team effectively bypassed the standard, rigorous vetting processes of the royal household. They knew the emotional leverage the presence of the grandchildren would provide. This move was designed to force a soft royal entry. It was an attempt to normalize the Sussex presence again, to create a precedent that would make it harder for the palace to maintain its rigid, boundary-based containment strategy. It worked on King Charles. He opened the door. But this is where the Sussexes made their fatal error. They assumed that a softened king meant a softened monarchy. They ignored the fact that Prince William has spent the last year meticulously building a new, hardened operational framework for the future of the crown. William views the Sussex brand not as a family dispute to be resolved, but as a long-term corporate liability to be managed. He watched the move to corner the king, and he recognized it for what it was, a breach of the institutional security protocol. So William stepped in. He did not argue with his father. He did not issue public press releases. He simply restructured the terms of engagement. He has ensured that the reunion remains an isolated, undocumented footnote and has effectively locked down the channels the Sussexes were attempting to use to regain their institutional cachet.
I look at it appalled because I feel like, in a way, it's giving Harry and Meghan exactly what they want, credibility. It erases the hurt that they've caused over the last 6 years. They've not said I'm sorry.
This is no longer about whether Harry and Meghan are liked or disliked. This is about institutional survival. William has identified that the only way to protect the monarchy from the volatility of the Sussex PR machine is to render their maneuvers irrelevant. To understand why this is a turning point, you have to look at the fragility of the Sussex brand right now. They are currently operating from a position of profound weakness, not strength. The media narrative they want you to believe is that they are thriving, independent, and moving past the royal family. But the reality is that they are in a desperate, frantic search for the next source of brand capital. Their commercial contracts in Hollywood are under review. Their production deals are flagging. Their attempts to build a personal brand independent of the royal Sussex have largely failed to resonate with the wider, general audience. They are running out of runway. Which brings us to their current strategy, the backdoor approach. Since they cannot re-enter the institution through the front door, since they cannot return to official duties or royal residences, or the public support of the British taxpayers, they have decided to use the back door. The strategy was to use the children to force a private meeting, then leverage that meeting to project a reunion narrative. If they could get a photo or even a credible rumor of the king with the children, they could use that to signal to the market that the royal connection is still alive. It was a brilliant PR play on paper. It targets the king's one known vulnerability, his family. But this play revealed a profound, dangerous disconnect between the Sussex team and the reality of the British monarchy in 2026. They are fighting the royal family as it was 5 years ago. They are not fighting the royal family as it is today. Today, the institution is led by a man who has observed the Sussexes playbook from the inside for years. Prince William knows exactly how they operate. He knows the leaks, he knows the briefings, and he knows the strategy of using family moments for commercial gain. He anticipated this move. And by stepping in, he effectively turned a victory for the Sussexes into a strategic dead end. The meeting at Highgrove happened, yes, but it was stripped of all its strategic value. It was effectively quarantined. No PR machine, no royal correspondence, no leaked details to friendly outlets. The meeting occurred in a vacuum, and it will remain in a vacuum.
The really important part of the agreement is that there will be no social media activity, no photos, no videos, no posts kind of hinting, oh, we've just had tea with the king. They have to behave themselves. And I'm told that Harry agreed to that in a heartbeat.
This has left the Sussexes in a much worse position than before the move. They burned their grandchildren leverage on a meeting that resulted in zero public gain. They are now left with no cards to play. And then, just as they were reeling from this tactical failure, they put Prince Harry in front of a camera.
Honestly, your kids and Meghan must be so proud of you. Do they tell you every day?
They don't tell me every day that they're proud of me.
No, they don't. Because they're not proud of you. She's not proud of you. She's using you.
This interview was meant to be the recovery. It was meant to be the moment Harry reminded the world of his importance, his mission, and his pride. But watch the clip. Look at the lack of preparation, the hesitation, and the visible discomfort. This isn't just a bad interview. It is the visual evidence of a man who is being forced to perform a script he no longer understands. Stop there. That is not the response of a man who is confident in his life, his marriage, or his standing. That is the response of a man who has been placed in a position where he has to defend a reality that he can no longer visualize. The interviewer was not looking for a scandal. She was looking for a human interest story. She was looking for a heartwarming clip she could use to boost the ratings of a daytime television show. She provided the setup. All Harry had to do was lean into it. He could have said, "Yes, we are so happy. We are so proud of the work we are doing. We are building a life in California." It's the easiest script in the world. Instead, he hesitated. Why? Because the Sussex brand is currently suffering from a massive, systemic cognitive dissonance. On one hand, they need to project the image of a perfectly happy, unified family to maintain their market value in Hollywood. On the other hand, the reality of their situation, the isolation, the legal failures, the estrangement from the royal family, is bleeding into their public appearances. They are living two lives. They are living the life they want the public to see, and they are living the life they are actually experiencing. And in that split second on that stage, in front of that camera, the two lives collided. Harry looked like a man who was trying to convince himself as much as he was trying to convince the audience. He wasn't talking to the interviewer. He was talking to his own inner conflict. This is why Prince William's containment strategy is so effective. He doesn't need to attack them. He doesn't need to out them. He just needs to let them keep talking. He needs to let them keep doing these interviews, keep taking these press opportunities, and keep trying to sell this narrative. Because the more they talk, and the more they try to project an image that doesn't match their reality, the more they expose their own cracks. The king may be cornered by his paternal love, but William is not. William is holding the line. He has looked at the move that Meghan made, the use of the children, the backdoor entry, the attempt to force a reunion, and he has countered it. He has made it clear that the door is locked. The move failed. The king remains trapped by his own guilt, but he is no longer allowed to act on it. The monarchy is moving forward, and for the first time in years, the Sussexes are officially being left behind. The immediate fallout of this strategic failure is not measured in negative headlines or tabloid gossip. It is measured in the total, silent evaporation of the Sussex brand's commercial utility. When the Highgrove Trojan Horse move failed, when the children were brought in but no public, institutional endorsement followed, the market got the message. The industry that once bet billions on the Sussexes' ability to secure a pipeline to the British monarchy now has the answer it feared. The pipeline is closed. William's quarantine is not a policy of public rejection. It is a policy of absolute, crushing indifference. Think about the position this puts Harry and Meghan in. They are currently occupying a geopolitical no man's land. They are too famous to disappear, but they are too isolated to be effective. Their commercial value was entirely predicated on proximity to the crown. Without the ability to facilitate a meeting or even secure a neutral interaction, that value has been liquidated. The silence from the palace is the loudest weapon in the arsenal. When Harry gives interviews, or when Meghan launches a lifestyle brand, or when they leak stories about their private lives, the palace simply does not respond. They don't correct the record. They don't offer clarifications. They don't even confirm the meetings occurred. They treat the Sussexes like a background noise that has no bearing on the business of the institution. This is the psychological humiliation the media is finally starting to describe. It isn't a dramatic fight. It is the realization that you are no longer a threat. You are no longer even a consideration. The impact on the marital dynamic is inevitable. When you build your entire brand on the premise that you are a power couple fighting a corrupt institution, you rely on the institution to fight back. You need the conflict to sustain the narrative. But when the institution stops fighting, when they essentially lock the doors, turn off the lights, and stop checking to see if you're still standing on the porch, the narrative collapses. That assessment isn't a personal opinion. It is an observation of a failing strategy. She's using you, but she's not proud of you. That is the brutal logic of the Hollywood machine. The industry is transactional. It does not care about loyalty, and it certainly does not care about historical grievances. It cares about ROI. When the royal connection failed to materialize, when the Highgrove meeting didn't produce the soft entry they needed, the market stopped viewing Harry as an asset and started viewing him as a liability. And look at the reaction. Harry remains in a state of absolute, rigid denial. He is refusing to acknowledge that the rules of the game have changed. He is still playing the same hand, the victimhood, the private meetings, the truth-telling interviews, while William has left the table. This is the isolation that the Sussexes didn't prepare for. They expected a standoff. They were ready for a battle. They were not ready for an institutional cold shoulder so severe that it rendered their existence irrelevant to the people who hold the power. We have to look at the endgame. Where does this lead? The twist is that the move Meghan made, the move that cornered King Charles, didn't just fail. It accelerated the timeline for the institution's defensive measures. Prince William has effectively used this moment to codify the Sussex quarantine into the future operational standards of the monarchy.
Is it what's sensible behaviour? I mean, if a dog has bitten you, you don't want to put your fingers back in its mouth.
He is currently stress testing what the institution looks like without the Sussexes, and he is finding that it is actually more stable. The monarchy is discovering that it can survive, and even thrive, without the constant drama. The public has moved on. The focus has shifted to the next generation of royals, to the core duties, and to the stability of the institution. The Sussexes, meanwhile, are stuck in a time loop. They are still litigating the events of 3, and 5 years ago. They are still trying to relitigate the exit, the security protocols, and the family dynamic. They are stuck in the past, while the rest of the world and the institution they left has moved into the future. The permanent quarantine is not a temporary measure. It is the new status quo. William is not looking for a way to let them back in. He is building a system that makes it impossible for them to ever return. He is doing this by creating a firewall around the king. The king has been clearly advised. The emotional path is a dead end. The family path is closed. The only path that remains is the institutional path. This means no official roles, no representation, no half-in, half-out hybrid models, no private meetings that can be used for PR leverage. The Sussexes played their hand. They used their last bit of leverage, the children, the private meetings, the Trojan Horse maneuvers. They played it, and they lost. And now, they are looking at a future where they have no leverage left. They have tried the front door, the side door, and the back door. All of them are locked. And the person who holds the key to the palace, the future king, is not interested in opening them. The story is over. The Sussex Empire is a finished chapter. What remains is a PR problem that the monarchy has decided it no longer needs to solve. The illusion that they were a threat to the monarchy has vanished. The illusion that they were going to redefine the future of the crown has vanished. William has stepped in, taken control, and executed a strategy of absolute institutional silence. The result? The Sussexes are on the outside, and for the first time, it is clear that they are going to stay there. But I want your take on the final act of this play. Do you think there is any possible move left for them, or is the quarantine of the Sussex brand now permanent? Is William's cold, calculated approach the only way to save the monarchy, or has he gone too far? Drop your perspective in the comments below. I'm reading everything. If you found this breakdown of the real-world mechanics behind the royal PR war valuable, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe for our next deep dive investigation. We don't do the fluff. We track the power. I'll see you in the next one.